I'm going to give you the top 10. Number 1, relationship-based helping jobs. As artificial intelligence continues to change the work landscape and the way we do life, there will be an increasing emphasis on what robots can't do. And that is, in fact, people skills. To be able to feel and think and sit with your emotions and others. The human element is going to explode because of all of the increased artificial intelligence. Number 2, careers in alternative energy. Alternative energy careers are booming, aided by the fossil fuel companies that want to diversify. There's political pressure here. And as always, companies, regardless of political pressure on the environment, you're always going to see companies looking for the cheapest, most efficient way to do things. Number 3, jobs in biosciences. The fusion of technology, healthcare, biosciences, and research are going to come together, and there's going to be exploding opportunities in these fields. Number 4, mindfulness coaches. This is interesting. If you would have told me this 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you. So mindfulness. Research shows that creating a mindful culture improves employees' attention, focus, productivity, and even happiness. So look to see medium-sized and large companies really begin to invest in this. Why? Retention of their team and effectiveness of their team. There's real stuff here. This isn't a bunch of kumbaya stuff. Number 5, managed service providers. With the rise in blended workforces, a larger percentage of an employer's talent will come from external staff. Managed service providers will become companies' best friends to help them streamline contractor performance and reduce legal risk. This is just simple. With more and more contractors and companies outsourcing certain functions, you're going to need that role. Number 7. I just skipped over here. Here we go. Careers assisting the aging. Oh, this is an onslaught. The baby boomers are getting older faster. And so there's a growing demand for people to meet the needs of aging boomers. This is nurses, primary care doctors, physical therapists, massage therapists, healthcare aides. All right? I'm looking out the window right now, and there's a boomer guy right in front of me, and he's laughing. He's going, yeah, we are getting older faster, but you look great, sir. Yeah. Number 7, higher level critical thinking jobs. Our educational systems continue to mostly reinforce this idea of learning and memorizing. The task required to get people ready for factory work. Well, folks, critical thinking needs to be developed in the workforce. And I've said this before, I don't want to get off on a rabbit trail here. It's not what this article is about, but I'm going to say this. We're not teaching kids how to think critically. We're teaching kids how to memorize an answer and then put it on a piece of paper. And so what happens is we're no longer creating pathfinders. We just aren't. We're creating answer givers, test takers. Oh, I could go off on that, but I won't. Number 8, the gig economy across industries. Again, this refers to people moving into freelance work. They could do the work that they normally have done for somebody and work for the man, but now work for themselves because of the freelance economy. Number 9, specialized data analysts. Again, data. Data is everything in this economy, and it's going to continue to become more important. So the ability to be a specialized data analyst is huge. And then finally, physician assistants. This is not a full-blown doctor. This is the healthcare boom that we talked about earlier. Physician assistants, great opportunity, a lot less money to get trained, but very, very effective. So there you go. That is a look into the future of jobs. 844-747-2577 is the number to jump in. 844-747-2577. We started off in Vancouver, Washington, where Chris joins us. Chris, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. How you doing this morning, man?
Chris, I'm living the dream. What's going on with you?
I'm blessed and not stressed, trying to get through life, doing my thing, you know?
All right. I like that. Blessed and not stressed. I might rip that off. That's really good. I like that. I dig that. Joe, the producer, is cackling in the control room. He thinks that's so good. So, Chris, what can I help you with today?
All right. So, again, I'm going to be 37 here in a couple of months. I've I do okay with myself. I'm a single guy, no kids, so the bills get paid, and that's fine. But I'm at a point in my life where I work a full-time retail job, and I don't want to work in a job where I'm making $30,000 a year for the rest of my life. I feel like there's more value to myself than that, but I don't know how to go about reaching up there for that brass ring and taking that next step.
All right, let me ask you this. Is it that you don't know what you want to reach for, or you know what you want to reach for, but you're not quite sure how to get there?
I know what I want to reach for.
Tell me what that is.
So my main goal was I wanted to get a degree as an accountant because I want to go into tax accounting. I got about halfway through an associate's in accounting, and I wound up flunking out of college there. I was trying to go to school full time. I was working full time.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Why did you flunk out of accounting? Was it because you had too much going on and you weren't mature enough, or you didn't have the talent to actually zip through the classes and thus be able to do the actual accounting work for somebody?
Well, I think that I understood the classes, like the accounting classes I had to take, but the other classes to go along with it, like the part of the degree, like, your business law, like your science type classes, the other stuff that makes up your 90 some odd credit hours.
Okay.
I struggled with those.
Okay. But see, that to me doesn't worry me at all, because when it comes to crunching the numbers in the accounting classes, you rock those, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's me. I got to tell you, I dropped college algebra, I think 7 or 8 times. I lost count. I'm just terrible in math, and I wanted to go into politics, and I was crushing my political science classes, but I was no good in some of the other core things. So you can CLEP those things, right? I don't know if that's still a term, but you could study hard for those and just get through those now that you're mature and you've got some time. So the good news is you have the chops to ace the accounting work itself. So this is about reapplying yourself, cash flowing your way through this, get the basics out of the way. You may have to study, maybe even hire a tutor. And you knock those classes out, those basic requirements, and then focus on the accounting stuff. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't step back into it. Am I missing something?
Well, I feel like, my college life, college career, for lack of a better term, kind of hit an impasse with that last year, because I floated all through financial aid. I refused to take student loans. I'm not going to contribute to that crisis. You
don't have to, Chris. I'm really putting you on the spot because you're not giving me any concrete reason why you shouldn't do this. And what am I missing? I'm here to help you. What am I missing? What do you not know about getting where you want to go, other than you just had to struggle through some of the basic classes? What am I missing?
Well, from the point that I'm at, from the retail job, how do I take, like I'm following the Dave Ramsey plan. I'm currently baby step 2.
Yeah.
So I have one debt, just my car. Once I pay that off, everything, I'm debt free.
Great. When will you pay that off?
I would like to pay that off in under 24 months from today.
Okay, but you're single and you have a retail job making $30,000 a year. Am I right?
Correct.
Chris, this is called a second job or a better retail job. That's your primary focus right now. You're only 37. You're still young, man. You're not even 37 yet. Let's call it what it is. You're 36. You're single. Right. You don't have anybody else to take care of except for you. Bust your freaking butt, Chris, and let's pay off the car in a year. And then let's walk through Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Let's get the emergency fund set up, 3 to 6 months. Yep. That should take no time at all for you at your income level and what you need to get by. And then you start cash flowing college and you start taking those classes, night school, whatever. You got nobody else to take care of. You don't even need a girlfriend right now. You can get a girlfriend or a wife later. But right now, you're 36, soon to be 37, and you can fast forward this process. And you need to fast forward this process. There are no other excuses. You can study. You can get the tutorial help to get through the basic classes that you struggle with, and you go get that accounting degree. Then you go get the CPA license. And I'm going to challenge you on one other thing. Do you actually need the accounting degree to actually qualify to be a CPA and get that license? I challenge you to look into that. And so you've got a plan. You know exactly what you need to do. You know why you need to do it. You know how much it's going to cost and thus how long it's going to take. but this is a second job, and I think I'm looking for a better job. I don't even care if it's the dream job because it's just a day job. You need to be looking to make $40,000 to $45,000 a year in this economy. And then you need to go get a second job. Let's see if we can bring in another $20,000 to $25,000, or maybe even $30,000. Now all of a sudden we got you up to $70,000. You're just scorching that debt on that car. There's no excuses for you, Chris. And I'm in your corner, but I'm pushing you on purpose. No more excuses, Chris. Get after it. It's time to go. 844-747-2577, the number. We now go to Louisville, Kentucky, where David joins us. David, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I am living the dream, David. What's happening?
Hey, man. In November, I lost my position was terminated at my company that I had been with for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And since I got a severance pay, but since that time, I'm out looking for work in that same field. I have a master's in mechanical engineering, and I have an MBA. Mm-hmm. So education is not the issue. So the issue is I'm 59 years old. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering the jobs that I have applied for, I'm wondering if the age discrimination is really the issue with me not getting hired.
Could be.
Coincidentally, the last two, I took a job now just to help pay the bills, etc. But coincidentally, the last two jobs I got using the proximity principle, and I didn't even know I was doing it.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, it works. And you didn't even know I wrote a book entitled The Proximity Principle. And you're right, it's nothing new. I just gave it a different name, and I really walk people through the simplicity and the power of getting around people that are doing what you want to do and getting in places where what you want to do is happening. So here's
but it definitely works.
I know it works. So here's the deal. Are you using the proximity principle in how you have been applying for these jobs? Meaning, did you just...
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Not. See?
Because I just got on to you about 2 weeks ago and started listening to your pods.
Good.
And I purchased your book.
Good.
And so I'm going through your book, but no, I haven't used those principles yet.
Right. So here's the point. I want to encourage you, not discourage you. Is it possible that somebody looked at your resume, because you didn't do it the Ken Coleman way, you just submitted your resume and you were a nameless, faceless person? And it's possible that maybe they looked at your resume. I don't know if it says how old you are on there. My guess is it didn't. Did it come up in any interviews at all?
No.
Did you even get any interviews?
Yeah, I've had a couple interviews and got to the final two people, and they picked the other person.
Do you look like you're 59?
I look about 55, I think.
Yeah. So is it possible that somebody looked at you and the other candidate? Were they much younger than you in both cases?
I don't know. One was an internal candidate, so I would think they would have the leg up. The other one, I'm not sure about.
See, so here's my point. David, if you were arguing, let's say I was a TV judge, which I think secretly I'd love to host one of those shows where I was the judge. I've always liked those Judge Judy shows. They crack me up. But let's just say that we were doing that right now, and you were trying to make the case to me that you had been discriminated against because you're 59. Do you think you've given me any evidence that will allow me to rule that has happened?
Not specifically, but culturally, I guess I was thinking there is that.
I get it, but I'm
feeling.
I get it, but I'm having fun with you, David. Okay, you have no evidence. I'm throwing the case out. All right. Now here's what we know. You've used the proximity principle before you even knew what it was called, before you knew it was a best-selling book written by me. You're 2 weeks in to listen to my show. I've got all the resources at kencoleman.com, how to restructure your resume, flip it. We got a template for you, how to win the interview. But if you skip forward into my book towards the third section of the book, which is after we reveal the people and the places, if you read the chapter on Web of Connections, that's what you do. That's another way to use the proximity principle. But here's the deal. David, you've been in this industry a long time. 11 years is what I wrote down. I also wrote down that you've got a master's in mechanical engineering and an MBA. David, you're crazy qualified. This is all about connections, man, not qualifications. And so you know what to do. Jump ahead to that chapter and read it and then do it. Because I'm telling you right now, if you use your Web of Connections, if you use the proximity principle, ageism doesn't come into play. Because before they ever look at you and try to compare you to somebody else that looks equal on paper, they've already heard David's a rock star. David's got all the education. David's got a decade plus of experience. David's got high character. David's a great culture fit. David got recommended to me and us through this person and this person and this person, and I highly trust those people. I think we got to give David an interview. When David walks into that interview, folks, do you think David's got a leg up? Absolutely he does. So do I think age discrimination happens? Of course, because people are bad. Okay, there's a lot of good people in this world, a lot of bad people in this world, and unfortunately, people judge a book by its cover. It's why your grandmother said, don't judge a book by its cover, because she got judged by her cover. And by the way, everybody judges everybody by the cover. So I think it's unfortunate, but the way you blow that discrimination and that stereotype up is by going around it, and it's a non-issue. That's how we do that. 844-747-2577 is the number. By the way, since David mentioned it, I'm going to mention it. Folks, the proximity principle is as clear and as simple of a clear path towards what you want to do as anything that's ever been written. Yes, I wrote it, so yes, I think that, but it's based on my journey and the journey of men and women throughout the entire history of the world that have been successful. It's a little principle. It says in order to do what you want to do, you've got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. It takes this mythical climb to your Mount Everest, your dream job, and it makes it really practical. Here's the formula. The right people plus the right places equals opportunity. I can't guarantee you that you'll win every opportunity that you get, but I can guarantee you how to show up at the train station of opportunity, and it's proximity. It was a number one best-selling book, is a number one best-selling book. We got a bundle at kencoleman.com. For the price of one book, $25, you get all three formats. The hard copy, which I'll autograph for you. The audio book, which you get to hear me read to you. And then, of course, the ebook for those of you who love to read on a tablet. So go get it, kencoleman.com. Only place you can get all three for $25. All right, to the chat room we go. And by the way, as we go in here, if you're enjoying today's show, would you do me a favor? Hit that thumbs up there below the video window, right there below me. It's probably like right over here as I look at the monitor. And subscribe to the show and share the show. Those are all three little quick clicks. That's hard to say. Quick clicks. Try saying that 3 times. It's a quick click. There we go. And it really helps to spread the word on YouTube. All right. S. Raul 923 writes in, the company I work for is merging with another company, and no one will know their status until the fourth quarter of this year. Should I wait till the merger is complete to stay or look for another company? I'm in the right role at the right place. According to your Should I Quit My Job quiz, another free resource at kencoleman.com. All right, so the good news is, Raul, you're in the right role in the right place. You're in your sweet spot, and you've got a merger. Here's what I would do if I were you. I would not assume the worst, but I would have a backup plan. So I would stay. Let's see how the merger plays out. Because if you're in your sweet spot, you're positioned well to be able to take advantage of the merger and move up. However, when mergers happen, uncertainty is always a possibility. So be looking in the marketplace for that sweet spot role that you're already in somewhere else. Do your homework. Use the proximity principle. Make some connections. Say, hey, I love what I'm doing and I love where I'm at, but we got a merger and that could be crazy. So I'm going to make some connections and position myself so that if I do get kicked out of the nest, I'm able to fly. That's what I would do. All right, Zach H. writes in, I've been at the same company for 10 years. How do I tell my current employer I'm ready to do something new for the company without getting fired? So this is the stuff I fight against. And Zach H., I'm here for you, bro. Now listen to me. This very question, I'm going to read this again, and I want you to listen. I want everybody else to listen to the way he writes the question. And I want you to not criticize Zach H. I want you to learn from Zach H. and see if you ever do this. Ken, I've been at the same company for 10 years. How do I tell my current employer I'm ready to do something new for the company without getting fired? Why do you assume if you've been somewhere a decade, that means A, you're not a degenerate, B, they value you because you've been there for a decade. What is it about the human psyche? This isn't picking on Zach. But what is it about us? They go, well, I want to tell them that I want to do something new, but I don't want to get fired. Where does that mindset come from? This is what you would have to do, Zach H., to actually have that conversation and get fired. Hey, listen, you moron. I've been here a decade and you've overlooked me for this, and this. I could do so much more. The idea that you can't see that I'm qualified or should do this makes me want to throw up. What's wrong with you? Now, that'll get you fired. I mean, the people watching the show outside the glass, I mean, they're laughing because it sounds so absurd. And it is absurd. It is equally absurd to think that if you walk in and say, hey, I've been here 10 years, really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've been able to do this, and this with my family because of this job, and I'm grateful. But, I've got this itch. And I've listened to this itch, and this itch is telling me that there's something new for me, and I'd like it to be here. I'm willing to learn some new things. I'm willing to serve in a different area. I'm willing to pay my dues in a new area to get on a ladder here. Is there a ladder? Do you see some things? I've kind of identified some things. Do you agree with those things? What are some areas that I need to grow in to make myself more valuable so that I can get increased responsibility and increased influence? And of course, with that comes increased pay. Now, if you say that, I said it quickly, but if you say that with a spirit of humility and hunger, how in the world could you possibly get fired? You're not going to get fired. So step into it. Let's do one more question. Kim writes in, I'm a full-time server at a senior home. Should I get another job on the side to pay off my debts? Absolutely. I wish I could add more to that. That's a straightforward question, which I like in the chat room. But yeah, if you need to pay off debts, get that side job. It's huge for momentum. You'll start to, if you're using Dave Ramsey's debt snowball, which teaches take the smallest debt and focus on that, pay that off. Then take what you were paying on that debt and add it to the minimum payment on the next size debt. And that creates momentum. Instead of going after the biggest debt, Dave's genius on this is getting a person momentum and allowing them to believe that they can do it. Why? Because they're experiencing progress. And so do that. So yeah, go get that second job. 844-747-2577 is the number. Back to the phones in a moment. But I just want to take a few minutes. I started the show by telling you I was going to share 4 things you need to do if you hate your job. Now listen to me. I'm looking right into this camera here. There are a lot of people right now watching me, and you hate your job. When you went in this morning, it's Monday. When you went in, oh my gosh, the process of leaving the front door or the garage to step into your car, you started to get anxiety. On the way in, that anxiety was building. You felt nauseous. Right now, you're watching me, and I'm glad you are. But when you stop watching me, you're going to do the basics and all you have to do to get through today. And you're just going to be on social media hoping all your friends keep updating stuff so that you don't die from sheer misery and boredom. That's you. I'm not busting on you. I'm just telling you. 70% of Americans are miserable in their job, and it comes down to 2 things. Either A, you're in a toxic environment. That's a toxic leader or toxic team, toxic overall culture. Or you're really bored. You just there's no juice for the job. So it could be multiple things, bored, overwhelmed, all these things. Bottom line is you have no connection to the work, or you're in a really toxic environment. 70% of Americans. So what do you do if you hate your job? This is from an article, by the way, entitled What to Do If You Hate Your Job at kencoleman.com. I wrote it, okay? But I want to walk through the 4 things really quickly. You ready? Write this down if you're watching and you're listening. Number 1, change your focus. Change your focus. Until you leave that job, I'm helping you get over the misery. So I got to change my focus. So I'm going in on Monday morning and I'm miserable. I know I need to leave. I don't have anything to leave to. What do I do to make it? Change my focus on experience. I'm getting good experience. What can I do at this job that I hate that will make me more valuable in the workplace? Focus on the experience you're getting that you can leverage to move forward. Number 2, focus on the stability. It's paying the bills. Hopefully it's paying the bills. And so change your mindset. My attitude changes. Okay, I really hate the work, but you know what? I'm grateful because it's taking care of me and the family. Number 3, focus on your future. Begin to channel that misery into hope and going, where do I want to go? And the beginning process of changing locations is thinking about a better future. Number 2, get your finances in order. I don't recommend anybody jumping off a cliff. I don't care how miserable you are. I don't want you to leave your job if you can't afford to leave your job. And don't watch some movie or read some motivational gibberish on social media and go, whee, and jump off of a cliff, because I can tell you what's going to happen. It's going to sound like this. Splat. So we don't want you doing that. You can stay put long enough to step into something so there's no interruption in income. Number 3, brainstorm. Really begin to use my process. What do I do best? Abilities and qualities. That's talent, hard skills, soft skills, character traits, personality traits that are really, really valuable. What do I do best? Number 2, what do I love to do most? What work makes me excited when I think about it? What work, when I'm engaged in it, time seems to disappear. That's high emotion and devotion. And then what are the results that matter to me? What problems do I want to solve? What solutions do I want to provide? If you answer those 3 questions, that's the number 3 here. How do I figure out what I'm created to do? And then number 4, start making connections. Once you know what it is, use the proximity principle. Get around people that are doing what you want to do. Get in places where what you want to do is happening. Oh my goodness. That's where opportunity always finds you. This idea that anybody who's doing well and successful is kind of lucky drives me crazy. Well, he was in the right place and at the right time. Drives me crazy, Joe. Joe, you've heard me do this rant so many times. I'm going to do a shorter version. See, that implies that there's no intentionality behind success. It's just, well, some fortunate souls are luckier than other people. That's garbage. Here's what I know. If you get in the right place, the right time happens. See, if you're in the right place, the right time finds you. That's opportunity. So those are the 4 things you need to do. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Back to the phones we go. Kirkland, Washington is where Emily is. Emily, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Happy to, Emily. What's going on?
Well, I'm at a job that I just am bored at. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I also have a very, very small network marketing business that kind of keeps me busy, entertained a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not passionate about that being my full career. Mm-hmm. And I just want to do something else. I always wanted to work. And
okay, pause right there. I love it. Let's get right there. The heart's starting to reveal something. You said, I've always wanted to work. That tells me you've always wondered about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 things. And Emily, I don't want you to even think about how to get there. That's my job to tell you that later. I want you to tell me and all of the people watching and listening, what are a couple of things you've always wondered about?
I've always wondered about, oh gosh.
You don't get to get unconfident. I want you to just say it from the top of your heart. What have you always wondered about?
Speaking.
Okay. See, tell the audience what just happened. This is fun. We're going to go a little deeper, folks, because Emily, you're a rock star. You almost said speaking when I said, what's the work you've always wondered about? And then you cut yourself off and said, oh my gosh, tell everybody what had happened in your mind.
Oh gosh, it gets scary when I start thinking about details.
Yeah. Go on. What details?
Scary too.
Yeah, it's scary. More people.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Who's gonna listen?
Yeah.
Do I know exactly what I want to say? But I've always wanted to.
Okay. I love your courage, Emily, and I love that you're willing to get very vulnerable. Now, folks, that's as real as it gets. All right, Emily. What else? Anything else besides the speaking?
I love motivating, so I don't know if I necessarily have to be speaking, but whatever I want to do, I want to be motivating, inspiring. I like explaining, and I'm really good at all those things. And I've had other people tell me too.
Oh, my goodness. She just identified her sweet spot. You're really good at communicating, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're really good at encouraging and equipping, aren't you? Kind of coaching, instructing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what she does best. What she loves to do most is motivate others or really turn their light bulb on. Am I right, Emily?
Yeah.
What happens to your heart? I want you to describe your emotion when you help turn somebody's light bulb on. Bing! What happens to you?
I kind of feel like I'm floating on the inside. I get excited and I feel happy. I feel satisfied.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. My whole body got a wave of goosebumps when she said that, because I love the way you said it. I feel like my insides are floating. Now, folks, this is real. All right, now this is the fun part. Now, Emily, I'm going to challenge you. It's going to be really scary, but you've already overcome your fear on this show. So I want you to blurt out what's on your heart, not your head. You promise me you won't filter what I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
Promise me. Say, I promise, Ken.
I promise.
There we go. If I guaranteed tomorrow that you could make the money you wanted to make, you'd be successful, people would like to hear you speak. They would like to read your content. So you were guaranteed you could not fail. Who would you communicate to? What problem would you want to be solving? What solution would you want to be providing? Think of that person for a second. I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Think of the people you would most want to communicate to. Why would you want to communicate to them? What would you want to tell them? Because that's the problem that moves your heart. What is it, Emily? Say it.
I'm trying to bubble it down or boil it down because I think of so many.
No, listen, let it go. I'll be the guy who figures it out. You just talk. Go. Let your heart go now. Just blurt. Go. Blah. All over the place. Go.
Human rights and human capability. I want to help mostly adults figure out that there's a lot of things they can do and help them figure out how to do it.
Now, how'd that feel?
Pretty good.
Felt pretty good. Emily, you're so worried about how it sounds. You're worried about telling other people how it sounds and people are going to judge you. That's one of your fears, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you don't have your elevator pitch down, and so you're worried about what all your friends and family are going to say if you go, this is what I want to do with my life. And you got to stop being worried about that. So you just started the human rights. You started talking about adults. You identified the adults. Here's your homework exercise. Emily, I want you to get a pencil. I'm going to challenge you to get a pencil. That's what I use because it's going to allow you to just write everything on the paper and you're not going to scratch anything out. You can erase it and you won't clog your brain up. And so I want you to get out paper and pencil, and I want you over the next 24 to 72 hours at a minimum, I want you to write out who are the adults. Get more specific. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What are their problems? Describe that adult that you most want to help. Be more specific on the human rights. What are the human rights issues or the struggles that bring your heart to a boil in a good way? And then what are the solutions to those problems that you most get fired up about? And what you're going to find out is you figured out who it is you most want to help. And then you start to figure out what's the content. If I'm going to speak, then I'd have to speak about this. I'd have to train people on this. I'd have to write stuff. I'd have to be a person who becomes an expert on these sources and resources. Do you see how this all starts to fill itself in, Emily? Yeah. So Emily, you got this. And by the way, one last piece of advice, because I've really focused my advice on clarity for you. That's stage 1, which is get clear. Once you're clear, you'll figure out how to get qualified, which is stage 2. Then stage 3 is get connected. That's the proximity principle. That's all down the road. Don't try to do all that right now. Only focus on getting clear. Because once you're clear, then you can focus on, okay, what do I have to learn and do to get qualified in stage 2? How long is that going to take? How much is it going to cost? That's down the road, but you can get overwhelmed if you try to look at the top of the mountain all the time. We just want to get on the mountain. You understand what I'm saying? And so don't try to do this for a full-time career right now. You're a stay-at-home mom. This is a tiptoe into this thing and get stable, get your sea legs, and then over time, you're going to do this. And so where can you speak now? What can you write now on social media? What can you do to begin the process of sharing information? If you focus on that, you're going to see momentum coming your way. I promise. And Emily, you're a rock star. You got a huge heart for people, and I think you're really, really close at being super clear. Do you feel that?
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you, Emily. Thank you for listening to the show. 844-747-2577. That's the number for you to join the conversation. Throughout today's show, I've mentioned whether it be the resume or getting ready for the interview, or we've heard listeners, whether it be in the chat room or on the phone, talk about the Should I Quit My Job quiz, which is a phenomenal resource. Takes you 3 minutes, less than 20 questions, help you figure out if it's time for you to go. all of the resources, the Get Hired guides, the resume, the interview, how to follow up after the interview, plus Should I Quit My Job quiz, all free resources. You can find them on the resources tab or on the homepage at kencoleman.com. So go get them. Well, it's time for me to go. Unfortunately, I've had too much fun today. Before I do, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.